is no evidence that Magic is overprinted. And the sentiment of Magic needs to cut print runs to support prices, that's a misunderstanding of our business and our customers.
Wizards of the Coast has overproduced because of Hasbro. It has pushed Magic to kind of a breaking point.
Your actions, your management, and your communication of how you do business can irreparably damage your relationship with the very people who keep you in business.
We have the least amount of people in the 7 years I've been on YouTube collecting and investing in sealed product.
It looks like the future of Magic is in real trouble.
There's no evidence of overprinting in Magic the Gathering. So there's some big things that have happened at the Refuge. We got our cooler, and it actually was the monster cooler, which is awesome. And then we also got our sign, which is a big deal. Everybody says that they like the sign. They say that it looks good. So I've got nothing but positive feedback. I was a little bit on the fence when I put it up because, I made the sign. So I didn't feel like it was that great, but it was like something that I needed. So I just did it. But after the feedback, I think it came out pretty good. Really happy with the cooler. The aesthetic is perfect for the space. And we even actually had someone come in yesterday and they asked, hey, how do I get one of those for their house? They just thought it was so cool. And with the M and the light shining through and stuff like that. It's also a display case in the sense of it shows that we have drinks. The other little mini fridge I had, people didn't know that we had drinks. So we do sell more drinks. It's a good profit margin, the monsters, The store is kind of core game is Magic the Gathering. But I talked about earlier episodes about diversifying and trying to build out infrastructure for different games. One of those is Flesh and Blood, and one of those is Pokemon. We put in to make a Pokemon League, and we're waiting to hear back from Pokemon to see if we get approved for the league. Once we have a league, we can have in-store events that are sponsored by Pokemon, which is pretty cool. And we've been buying a lot of Pokemon lately. We've had people coming in. It's the holidays. People need a little bit more spending cash. So they've brought in a bunch of Pokemon cards, and I've been buying a bunch of that up to kind of build up our inventory. Is it harder to run Pokemon events than Magic events? Let me say this. It is easier to run Flesh and Blood events than either of those. I'm looking at how long it takes to set these things up. Flesh and Blood, we were set up within a week. They set up a call. They onboarded me. They put me on their website as a locator, and I'm already running Flesh and Blood events. Actually, I ran our first Flesh and Blood event last week. And the Wizards of the Coast thing I put in last week for that once we got the sign up, and I haven't heard back yet. So, it hasn't been as long as Pokemon, but, I get the feeling with the holidays coming up, we're probably not going to hear back from them until the beginning of the year. I thought that I might not notice much difference, but I have noticed a big difference having the sign up. We've had a number of people say, oh, I was eating at La Jaiba and I saw the sign. La Jaiba's the awesome Mexican place next door. I feel like the sign tells people you're open, whereas before maybe they weren't sure that we were open. There was something going on there. They didn't know what. So it's really doing a lot of heavy lifting as far as foot traffic goes. And it gets in the people who are not like entrenched in the community, people that I don't have access to, because I have access to all the people in the community on the Facebook and stuff like that, but not just like the people out in the open. Hey, if this is your first time and you're enjoying this series about me opening and running a local game store, make sure to get caught up on our previous episodes. Now, back to the show. I think there's a common misconception of what does overprinting mean. When I say overprinting Magic, I don't mean they printed too much of a set, right? Like Kamigawa is a great set. They printed a lot of that. Good. I'm not saying you print too much Kamigawa. I'm saying there's too many SKUs, which means like too many products. So when you have Kamigawa, you have Kamigawa Draft Booster, Kamigawa Set Booster, Kamigawa Collector Booster, Kamigawa Commander Decks. You got all of these different things. Then you have other products as well. So that's the Kamigawa collection, but then you have, 40K, you have Unfinity, they've jammed so much product into such a small amount of time. And as a store, we have to purchase all of it, right? And we don't have to purchase all the SKUs, which is all the little individual items. Like for instance, I just skip on certain boxes. They've been doing Jumpstart with the different sets like Dominaria Jumpstart. I just don't buy any of those. All right, so I'm going to go over the booster boxes and kind of my strategy for sealed during this season of overprinting. Basically, like I said, I want to get things focused. And so we have draft booster boxes. These are basically for people looking for a cheap pack to open or for prizing. We don't sell a lot of draft boosters, but I like to have them around for the prizing. The point is that there's just too much of that. And it's like a landmine field trying to navigate, well, how many draft boxes do I need and how many set boxes? And it confuses the consumer. What should I buy? That's the question I get a lot. Well, which pack is better? And the stores need to buy all of it. We need to spend thousands of dollars on all of that stuff. And so what ends up happening is a lot is left over. We also have set boosters, which mostly people open, and they also like to buy boxes of set boosters. So I really buff up my set booster numbers. And so we got the latest sets like Brothers War, Dominaria, and we have the other stuff down here, which is like Baldur's Gate and Infinity. I'm fighting with Wizards for the dollar of the consumer. So you have the consumer who has to make a decision. I have booster boxes that I can get through my distributors like Brothers War and stuff like that. But there's secret layers being sold direct from Wizards. Now it's like, let's say somebody has a Magic budget of $100 for the month, or whatever. It's like, well, are they going to buy the secret layers? Are they going to buy 2 secret layers? Or are they going to buy a booster box from me? So now I'm competing because Wizards is trying to sell stuff in every sector. They're trying to sell it direct to consumer. They're trying to dump it on Amazon. They're trying to push it through their distribution chain. There's a constant hostility toward us, and I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, like, oh, they want to, hurt the local game store. I just don't think they care. And that's how I take it. I just say, hey, look, I need to innovate. I need to build a business plan that works in this hostile environment. And that's what I had to do. That's what I signed up for, We like to keep specialty products like the Double Masters, Modern Horizons, Time Spiral Remastered. And then when Dominaria Remastered comes out, we'll have that up here too. Those, we sell a lot of those packs. People love to open packs of these particular sets. For me, it's just about being selective and being very focused about what kind of store I want to be. I could just eliminate draft boxes completely, right? Because I'm just not drafting in this store. We're going to be playing Commander here. So up my count on Commander decks, get set boxes, get collector boosters for popping on stream and in the store. And then like the rest of the stuff, ignore. This is a very Commander focused store. So lots and lots of sealed Commander decks for people who want kind of like a starting point for what they're going to do. Whenever a new set comes out, I always try to buy the Commander decks. I know that people are going to be wanting those for here. And then I have my collector boosters down in the case over here. I like to keep a good supply of those because people like to crack those in store. One of the complaints is, hey man, Amazon is selling it cheaper than distributor. Okay, maybe I'll just buy from Amazon. How can you blame me, right? Because the distributor is not, providing the value. I'm not going to get burned just to buy from a distributor. And so I think going forward, I just have to think about things and be a little bit more careful. I can't just buy everything.
There's been this claim that you're printing too many cards.
Most of our Magic releases and our SKUs are print to demand. And this means that we print and reprint products in a set to support players and customers who want to buy it, usually to play with it. In aggregate, there is no evidence that Magic is overprinted. And the sentiment of Magic needs to cut print runs to support prices, that's a misunderstanding of our business and our customers.
Hasbro had a Fireside chat, which is basically a discussion they wanted to have in front of their investors, because they just kind of wanted to tell the investors what's going on. They had some softball questions thrown at them about overprinting and about other stuff. And I'll be honest, I tuned in for the chat and I just wanted to turn off because I'm a pretty chill guy, but just listening to them saying things, I just felt like they were just either completely out of touch or just completely lying, just bold-faced lying. Because they're talking about, oh, we've talked to our LGS partners and everybody's talking about how their business is growing and everything is great. And I'm just like, who are you talking to? Because everybody I talk to has similar views to me about the hostility, about the hostile environment that we're in. I don't know what they're talking about.
There is no evidence that Magic is overprinted.
When they asked about the overprinting, I think it was Cynthia, who's CEO of Wizards of the Coast. She said, there's no evidence of overprinting in Magic the Gathering. This is a funny way to answer that question, right? It's just like if I told you, why are you stealing stuff from me? And somebody said, there's no evidence of me stealing stuff from you. Like, what about like we're not doing that, or like try to help me to understand? But it's like to appeal to evidence often, shows guilt, right? Like if you're appealing to evidence, like prove it. And then again, they dodged it. They went to saying, oh, we're not overprinting because players need cards. But it's like, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about you getting good cards to players. We're talking about slowing down. Stop printing. And they kept saying 6 tentpole sets. Like, oh, all we're doing is six tentpole sets, which is basically one every 2 months. That's not true. Every month there's some kind of drop of products, whether it be a secret lair, a commander deck, a universe beyond, this or that. And it's just a barrage so that the consumer and the middleman can't rest, is basically what it is. What's the long-term outlook for this Wizards of the Coast pace of things? I think what's going to happen is it's going to affect their bottom line. They're going to lose LGSs. Their distribution relationships are going to be disrupted. And I think that's going to cause them to reform. I think they're going to make some changes. I don't think it's going to happen soon. I think they're at least going to run another year like this until we really start to see the cracks. Once we start to see the cracks in their bottom line, in their money, then we're going to see some changes. So the idea is diversify into other games, hold on in the Magic world, get focused, hold on, diversify, and try to wait it out. Thank you for watching this episode. There will be more to come, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. More information about my business, Alchemist Refuge, is on the screen and in the description. I hope to see you next time. Bye!